whoever the Hawks don't draft, the Wizards are likely taking with the number 2 pick. So if you want to take Sar 1, Ricochet 2, God, you have
both
broken me.
7-1.
Broken me. And then Reed Shepherd 3, that's 9-1, and there's also a 12-1 that's out there,
Well, that's interesting because think about this. So say you have a $30 bet, right? And you were going to do that exact result, and it's 9-1. So whatever that number is, do some math, Ryan. Do some math. Or just say we have $100, right?
Okay, $900.
$900.
Yeah.
Or you're going to put $33 on each number, like each pick exactly. So Sar 1, Ricochet 2, and then who's the third? Reed Shepherd.
Oh,
and
Shepherd,
Reed Shepherd's minus money, right?
Yeah.
I think you can still get better value if you take those individually than the exact result. I think the money, because you're getting 7-1, 7-1.
If Sar for Sar 1 though, you're saying
Sar 1, Ricochet 2, because that's 7-1, 7-1.
Yeah.
So I'm a little confused as to how you end up getting how they end up giving us 9-1 with 2 7-1s back to back. Like the odds of that, we're getting squeezed essentially, and that's not a BetMGM conversation. This is just like an all book conversation. We're getting squeezed. We're getting squeezed. There's some shenanigans afoot. Yeah,
well, I mean, if you really just want it, you're right. There's another option there where you can just go that, and I mean, though, I mean, most likely, if you don't hit the number 1 overall pick and it's not Sar, then he's going number 2. So the number 2 pick also loses. So that's the same as doing that top 3, and then you just at least got to hope Reed Shepherd goes, but you have some insurance with him going number 3, and you got at least something back there.
Exactly.
Something to think about. Yeah, that's another way to look at it too. Action. Yeah, that's another way to look at it too. It's interesting to see how some of these things are priced. You know how this is though with the draft. We saw with the NFL, right, where there's books have very, very different numbers, and it's also just what you're getting offered too. And this stuff gets moved so quickly.
Yeah, man. Sar's minus 700 to go second overall.
Yeah.
Reed Shepherd's only minus 190 to no, it's minus 700 now.
Oh, to go 700
to go second. Yeah, to go second.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's kind of what scares me a little bit about this big Reed Shepherd bet that I just put in under 3.5. He's only minus 190 to go third overall.
So that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think the concern is that the Rockets are going to trade that pick. And then
and the question is to who and
to
what
who
they
and
want.
What do they want exactly? And in this draft, that's a lot of names, and it might end up being Donovan Clingan.
What teams are looking to move up in this draft? You know, like in why?
Memphis needs a rim protector.
Yeah.
Who else? Maybe
San Antonio.
San Antonio for sure.
Packaging 4 and 8 together, they could move up to 3, and then if you're the Rockets, you go down 1, and maybe you get
the Thunder.
Yeah.
Maybe they want a big man to give to pair with Chet. I thought about Bronny James and him saying that he wants to be Drew Holiday. Is that a realistic ceiling for Bronny?
I want to be Pat Riley. I mean, the guy averaged 4 points a game. All right, look. I think that Bronny has handled this better than every adult in his life. That's my take. He's handled this better than his dad. He's handled this better than Rich Paul, because he's handled it with some humility, and he hasn't tried to, overplay his hand. Now he's going to listen to his agent, of course. You understand that, but I mean, who is he? Look, tragic situation he was in. But coming out of high school, look, I coached at Long Beach State for 9 years. I had Lucius Harris, who played 13 years in the league. I had Brian Russell, who played 13 years in the league. I had James Cotton, who played 4 years in the league. I had Joaquin Hawkins, who played 4 years in the league. He would have been a good get for us at Long Beach State. I mean, he's an if. He's a 6'1", 2 guard. And like everyone goes, oh, he played great in the combine. People that play in the combine are all about, if you're playing in the combine, you know what you are? You're a guy that's probably not going to play in the league. It's like the Summer League. People go to Summer League. Man, he was great in the Summer League. Who are you playing against in the Summer League after the first 2 days? A bunch of dudes that are not going to be in the league, that are going to get 2 ways or be in Europe. So I don't overbuy all the hype. I think he's an unbelievable young man. I really have enjoyed listening to some of his interviews. But so if he doesn't make it, is Rich Paul going to bury him like he buried Cal for, very the coaching staff at USC, like they buried Cal for Chris Livingston, who, like, the NBA is the most exclusive club in the world. It's not for everyone. This is not Oprah where everyone gets a TV. All right? I mean, that's just the way it is. It's a very exclusive club. Hey, I'd love to see the guy make it. But right now, if you had to evaluate him, he's not an NBA player. That's it. He's not an NBA player.
And I think it's probably just because all of the mocks have him there. If you were to guess, if Houston keeps the pick, what would be the best player that fits their system, who would that be?
Yeah, I would still go Reed Sheppard only because of Donovan Clingan. And I think that that's kind of what the market is suggesting, is that if Houston does keep the pick, and it's always more, smarter to bet against the trade than not, because trades are very hard to actually pull off, as easy as they are to talk about. Reed Sheppard makes things just simpler for Houston. He's going to be a deadly shooter, and at minimum, he's going to lift up the floor spacing that Houston desperately needs. If you draft Clingan, who I think is the better player of the two, Clingan and Sengun do not fit at all, and I think that they're not ready to wave the flag, of course, on Sengun, so they'd rather have him long-term than Clingan. So Reed Sheppard, at a minimum, he's going to be an absolute pit bull defensively, where he's not going to be an all-defensive member at all, but he is going to give you maximum effort. He's going to make an impact in the passing lanes, and whenever you surround him with guys like Dillon Brooks, then all of a sudden it elevates your overall team defense. They desperately need shooting. He can play on the ball. He can play off the ball, especially where you really like him. So if you keep Jalen Green around and you have Fred VanVleet, and you now are getting more into the teeth of the defense in the paint and kicking it out, then there's no better shooter in this draft, especially off movement, than Reed Sheppard. So I think that that's what the kind of odds are telling you, is that if they stay put, which is hard to pull off a trade, then it'll be Reed Sheppard there to Houston.
We've been talking a lot about the draft position. Is there anybody in this draft you think goes a little bit higher maybe than they're being projected right now?
Yeah, I think that what's interesting is the smoke screens would suggest that, because, like, in order for Ron Holland to fall, as people are talking about, or Dillingham to fall, or Cody Williams to fall, somebody has to jump up. They're not just going to forfeit those picks. So who is it going to be that makes the climb? One name that I think like people could fall in love with is like Jared McCain, who can shoot the ball off the ball. So if you have a team that's already really good at dribble pass and all that stuff, and you just need the extra shot, and he can come off screens for you and finish plays, he's there. But by the same token, if you need a table setter to get your scores into their action, he's also, going to thrive in that area as well. So him jumping up wouldn't be a surprise. It also wouldn't be a surprise if Dejan Salon jumps up as this guy that we fall in love with every single year. Like in the draft, you're always going to see these 18-year-olds who have a man body already, and you think maybe we can make them shoot, maybe we can fix the jumper, because if you fix the jumper, then Salon has like all the intangibles you could ever want. He's excellent at the rim. He's great feel for the game in terms of a connective passer, in terms of a cutter, in terms of a rim finisher, and then defensively, because of his frame, he can defend 1 through 5. And so like it all comes down to that jump shot, which in the modern NBA, it's a risky proposition to bank on, because if the jump shot doesn't come around, we've seen how non-shooters are play off the floor regardless of what else they can do. But I could see a team falling in love with him and him being a surprise jumper. But those are two guys I'd keep an eye on in order for some of these other guys to fall.